Hi, I'm Carter Wilson, best-selling author and writing coach, and welcome back to Meditations for Writers. So I'm sitting in my office and I've got a dog sleeping at my feet, so hopefully she won't start acting up in the middle of all of this, but right now it's a very peaceful scene. And today I wanted to talk about rejection, because we're writers, and whether we're having success in the moment or not, we're surrounded by rejection all the time. Specifically, I want to talk about how to stop seeing rejection as something that's happening to you and start seeing it as something that's guiding you. Because if you stay in this long enough, you'll realize something that might seem a little strange, but it's true. And that's rejection doesn't actually exist in the way we think it does. What does exist is direction and information. What exists is a path being shaped in real time, whether you like it or not. So today we're going to reframe rejection in a way that helps you keep going, helps you stay curious, and maybe helps you trust the process a little bit more than you might be feeling it right now. So if you're ready, take a deep breath. Close your eyes. And let's begin. Take a slow breath in through your nose. Hold it for a moment. Then let it out. Again, slow inhale, slow exhale. And I want you to do that one more time. And as you do, just let your shoulders drop. Let your body settle. Now is a time that you don't need to fix anything. You don't need to figure anything out. Just be here. If you've experienced rejection as a writer recently, I want you to bring that specific rejection into your awareness. It was a pass or a no, or maybe just silence that feels like a no. Notice how your body responds to it. Maybe there's tension, maybe there's frustration, maybe there's that voice inside you just asking perpetually, what am I doing wrong? And just let that feeling be there. Because rejection, as we experience it as writers, feels deeply personal. You spend so much time and so much energy creating something that matters to you. So of course it feels like something was taken away when you get that no. Take a breath and say to yourself, this feels real. Not because it defined you, but simply because you cared. Now let's start to shift how we see that rejection. What if it's not a verdict? What if it's not someone telling you no? Could it be something else entirely? I listened to a lot of the speeches of Alan Watts. And he talks a lot about life not as something happening to you, but as something you're a part of, something that's unfolding through you. And I think of this as a current or some kind of flow. And when you resist that flow, when you fight it, oftentimes it feels exhausting, swimming against the current. In that same way, rejection may not be a force pushing you away. Maybe it's a part of the current itself. It's a redirection, a refinement, an adjustment of the path. So take a breath and think of that rejection and say silently, "This is not against me," even if it feels that way. This is my 23rd year of writing, but that's very different than 23 years of being on a bookshelf, of being published. When I first started, I was rejected more than 75 times before I got an agent. And even after I got that agent, my first 3 books didn't sell. The truth is, it took 9 years from when I started writing to when my first book actually made it onto a shelf. And it wasn't a big splash. In fact, that publisher was a tiny little publisher who actually went out of business about 6 months after my book came out. And that paltry advance of $2,000 they gave me, I only got half before they went bankrupt. If rejection were real in the way that we think it is, that would have been the end of the story. Think about writing 3 books over several years that never went anywhere, and then a 4th, and I thought I was finally on the road, and the company went out of business. But that wasn't the end of my story, because every one of those moments wasn't stopping anything. It was shaping me as a writer. Craft, patience, voice. It's all learning. So take a breath and just let that thought settle with you. Whatever it is you're experiencing right now as a writer is not unique. It's part of the process. This is what I learned from all that rejection. I learned to ask, what is this showing me? Instead of asking, why did this happen to me? Really looking at the feedback from a place of curiosity. Because curiosity keeps you moving. You have a willingness to learn, to improve. But negative self-judgment just shuts you down. So anytime you get a no, think of it as information. Why did the agent pass on you? Why did the editor not want your manuscript? Maybe it's pacing, maybe it's about clarity, Maybe it's timing. Maybe it's about the market. Or maybe it's just simply telling you, not this one, but keep going. So when you get a rejection, look at it with curiosity. Take a breath and say, I can learn from this. You don't need all the answers right now. You just need to stay open. What if the things you're calling rejection are actually necessary? Maybe they're a part of your education. All that work that didn't get published. What if that was your training? Your school? Those 9 years I spent writing 4 books. That was my education. That's where I learned how to write. That's where I learned how to edit, about the market, about how to get better. Because you don't arrive at something meaningful without becoming someone capable of creating it. And that just takes time. It takes repetition. It takes failure. It takes refinement. You might have spent 5 years on a book and you slaved over it every day and you thought about it all night long, every night. And it went nowhere. That's okay. Maybe that book isn't supposed to be published. Maybe that book is your education. Maybe that book is preparing you simply to write the next one. Alan Watts talks about how what feels like delay is often part of a larger unfolding. That life isn't random, even when it feels chaotic. So what you're in right now may not be a blockage. It could just be preparation. Now take a deep breath and say to yourself, this is all a part of it. Even if you don't fully believe it yet. At the end of the day, all of this comes down to just one thing. Do you keep going? Because if the passion for writing is real, if the desire to write is still there underneath everything else, then you already have what you need. That desire has to be stronger than the outcome, stronger than the timeline, stronger than the comparison. Because I look at my own history and the history of hundreds of writers that I've interviewed, and there is one certainty in publishing. This is a long path. And it is not a straight line. Now take a breath and say to yourself, I'm still here. And that matters more than anything else. And as we start to close out this meditation session, take another slow and deep breath in. Hold it for a few moments and let it out with intention. Bring your awareness back to your body, the space around you. And just remember this as you go about your day. Rejection is not a wall. It's part of your journey. It's not telling you to stop. It's just shaping how you move forward. You're not being pushed away from something. You're being guided towards something, even if you can't see it yet. And when you're ready, open your eyes. And now go back to your writing.